Hi, I'm John Davis, and this is MotorWeek.
Join us as we kick off our 36th season with two awesome Porsches, an all-new 911 Turbo, and a classic 959. Pat Goss carries on the tradition of giving us the best car care advice. FYI's Lauren Morrison has her own Porsche adventure. Then we'll set sail with a new Nissan Armada.
So come drive with us next.
MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, brought to you by...
It's got 430 foot units of beast.
Tire Rack wants you to be smart with your car. They can help you choose the right tires for your vehicle.
Oops.
TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Rock Auto has auto parts from hundreds of manufacturers, offering a variety of brands, prices, and specifications. RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need.
Welcome to the 36th season of MotorWeek. We're glad to have you with us. 959. To a Porsche-phile, those numbers have an almost mythological meaning. Introduced in 1986, the Porsche 959 was the most extreme evolution of the 911 platform and is widely regarded as the world's first modern supercar. But 30 years later, how does it stack up against the reigning king of 911s, the 2017 Turbo S? Well, our inquiring minds want to know.
Without question, the Porsche 959 was the most advanced road car of its time. In addition to tire pressure monitoring, anti-lock brakes, and a 6-speed gearbox, the 959 also employed all-wheel drive with driver-selectable torque split, adjustable ride height, hollow-spoke magnesium wheels, a super aerodynamic aluminum and Kevlar composite body, and even floors made from fireproof Nomex. But seeing the 959 now is like stepping into a time warp. The slick aero body looks soft and slightly bloated next to this 2017 Porsche 911 Turbo S. And the very 80s striped leather seats seem as dated as a members-only jacket. The 959's 2.9-liter flat six was a derivative of Porsche's racing engine and featured air-cooled cylinders with water-cooled heads. Sequential twin turbos, smooth power delivery across the rev band, and the output of 444 horsepower allowed a 0-to-60 sprint of just 3.6 seconds en route to a top speed of 195 miles per hour. Numbers that still embarrass many of today's sports cars. This 30-year-old machine has covered barely 5,000 miles since new. It fires up quickly and delivers a familiar but hardly menacing Porsche melody. But take a row through the gears out on the track and you'd better be ready as the tach spins past 5,500 and the boost comes on with a rush. After all this time, the 959's performance is still impressive, even when driven at the moderate pace that we promised to its owner. Now, this 2017 Porsche 911 Turbo S is an ultra-modern technology tour de force with a host of stability and traction aids that are just as cutting-edge now as the 959s were then. It has been criticized for sounding too tame, and we agree. But with 580 horsepower and 516 pound-feet of torque on tap, this 911 Turbo S would crush the 959 in an all-out track dash, along with all but the most track-focused of today's super sports cars. The 911 Turbo's unflappable composure at ridiculous speeds makes heroes out of mere mortals and still sets the standard by which all sports cars should gauge themselves. That animalistic, ill-handling nature you've heard stories about went away years ago, along with air cooling. Now a new dynamic boost system electrically keeps the turbo spinning when you ease off the throttle, so they're ready to feed power once you get back on the gas, virtually eliminating turbo lag. As always, PASM, which gets new calibrations to differentiate the drive modes a bit more, does a masterful job of reining in your poor driving habits. By the same token, you know steering is electric assist, but it feels no different than it always has. Measured against the clock, the 911 Turbo S will rip to 60 in 2.8 seconds. The quarter mile flashes by in 10.8 seconds at 132 miles per hour. The 911's body has grown dimensionally, yet retains the instantly recognizable classic squashed Beetle shape. Its 96.5-inch wheelbase is 7 inches longer than the 959, and it also stands a few inches longer, wider, and taller, not to mention 387 pounds heftier than the 959. Turbocharging is nothing new for Porsche, of course, but now that all 911s are turbos, what sets the Turbo S apart? Well, as it has been since 1975, the turbo model is the pinnacle of Porsche engineering. Now based on the 991.2 chassis, the turbo gets the full wide body treatment, bigger air intakes, more prominent rear wing, and unique headlights. But the overall look is fairly restrained compared to previous turbos. Mechanically, the turbo gets a bigger 3.8-liter flat six with 540 horsepower and 486 pound-feet of torque. The Turbo S is next level naturally at the aforementioned 580 horsepower. Max torque with overboost is 553 pound-feet. Just about all suspension and drivetrain components get a total rework, as do all of the electronics that manipulate them. All-wheel drive is standard, as is the 7-speed PDK transmission, which is currently the only gearbox available. And just as in the engine compartment, the Turbo S features further upgrades, including ceramic composite brakes. Pricing for the 2017 911 Turbo S seems pretty heady at $189,150 to start and $192,735 as tested. But that falls well short of the 959's 1988 price of $300,000. Even though they lost a lot of money on each of the 337 they made, the 959's value as a showcase for the company's technical and engineering prowess was enormous. The momentum from the 959's critical acclaim propelled Porsche to the top of the sports car market and paved the way for incredible machines like this 2017 Porsche 911 Turbo S. The Porsche 959's aura has lost none of its luster after 30 years. It still stands as a performance benchmark for the ages for all others, and especially Porsche itself, to measure up to.
While we certainly had fun pushing that 911 Turbo S to the limit at Summit Point Motorsports Park, Porsche has actually built their very own track that's designed to really highlight the capabilities of their sports cars. So we sent our FYI reporter Lauren Morrison down to the Porsche Experience Center in Atlanta for a little personal time behind the wheel.
The Experience Center is right next to the Atlanta airport, and the only thing louder than the plane are the Porsches on the course.
I like to think of it as really Porsche's playground.
With this 1.6-mile driver development track as my playground, I was ready for recess.
We've really purpose-built a track that'll allow you to get the most out of a Porsche vehicle and learn something about yourself.
I'm in the driver's seat of a 2017 911 Carrera S, but with a fleet of almost 80 vehicles, you've got options. Depending on the model, prices start at $300 to get behind the wheel.
So we have everything from our Boxster, the Cayman, our 911, Panamera, Cayenne, and really some kind of bespoke, unique cars that are even hard to get, like the GT3 RS.
Back to the track, which features 6 different drive modules, each designed to showcase what a Porsche is capable of.
All right, so whenever you're ready, foot on the brake, floor the gas.
Floor the gas.
Off the brake, straight ahead. So keep going, keep going, keep going. Big hard brake, everything you got. There you go.
It's amazing how quick we stop.
The first thing I noticed on the track, a bright red Porsche logo, which marks the kick plate.
This is the part of the day that I've been most anxious about.
This is the only course in North America that offers the kick plate, which does exactly what you're thinking. Kicks the car's rear end out from under you and sends you into a spin. My goal, to correct that spin and point the car back straight.
If you delay that reaction, it's harder and harder to catch the car.
After a few humbling kick plate go-rounds, I set my sights on the low-friction circle.
We're gonna try to drift, slide the car around. This being a rear-engine car, we have a lot of traction, a lot of weight over the rear wheels. We can use that to our advantage and slide the car with the back end out the entire way around the circle.
I also had a goal of my own for this module.
One of my coworkers, Zach Maskell, is super into drifting, so I gotta learn some skills to show him up.
All right, that works. All right, so blip the throttle, turn to the left. There you go, and it slides, so turn right, correct it. Woo!
So Zach may have me on the drifting for now, but I showed skills on the low-friction handling circuit.
So the way this works, we're gonna go accelerate into the corner, so you'll jump on the throttle real quick to break the rear wheels loose, get the car sliding, we'll catch it, go into the next turn, do the same thing over and over and over again. So it's a bunch of mini slides that all add up to make one big drift all the way around the track. Back on the throttle, and now off, and then now back on the gas, and then off.
After almost 90 minutes in the car, I was feeling pretty confident as I sped around the handling circuit.
You get the hang of it?
Yeah, I'm feeling like a race car driver.
But Kevin, my patient instructor, gave me a reality check when he got behind the wheel and took me for a spin in the GT3 RS. At the end of the day, I walked away a much better driver and with a much bigger smile on my face, checking both boxes on the Porsche Experience Center's mission.
We can always count on Pat Goss for top-notch car care advice, and this week he's all gassed up and ready to go.
I get a lot of questions concerning gasoline. And we have with us today Brian West from Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Brian, welcome to Goss's Garage.
Thank you for having me, Pat.
All right, now your team oversees the government's fuel economy webpage.
That's right, we do. There's fuel economy data there for every vehicle sold in the U.S. since 1984.
All right, now are there any trends that you're seeing?
Yeah, I was looking at the data recently. Since about 2000, more and more manufacturers are recommending or requiring premium. If you look at model year 2016, there's over 1,200 records there. About 15% of them are premium required cars, and 30% of them are premium recommended. If you go back to 2000, it was only about a fourth of the cars that were premium recommended.
Okay. All right, now some of the common questions that I hear. Number one, what is octane?
Octane is a chemical property. It's a measure of the fuel's resistance to auto ignition. In normal spark ignition combustion, what we want to have happen, we want the spark to ignite the mixture. We want it to burn rapidly and smoothly and build pressure and push down on the piston. If the octane number is not high enough, however, sometimes some of that unburned fuel, before the flame front gets across the combustion chamber, it'll spontaneously ignite or detonate, causing ping. And that's a bad thing. It can be annoying to listen to, but in the worst case, it can actually cause engine damage.
All right, but now on modern cars, we don't hear pinging.
That's right. A lot of cars today, you won't hear the knock because the car has a knock sensor. Since the 80s and 90s, vehicles have been equipped with these. It's basically a microphone, and it tells the engine control unit that it hears knock, and it's generally going to hear it way before the consumer, and it's going to mitigate that knock by retarding the spark timing. The knock will go away in most cases, but it's going to come at the cost of efficiency and the cost of power.
Okay. Now, other common questions. Is there more energy in a gallon of premium?
That is a common misconception, and there is not. The energy density is not correlated to octane number.
More cleaning agents?
In some cases, that may be true. In fact, some manufacturers recommend premium because the fuel can sit in the tank a long time, say in the case of a plug-in hybrid.
Okay. And the last thing that I get a lot of questions about, my fuel filler door doesn't correspond with the language in my owner's manual.
That can be misleading. This Miata here says premium recommended. On a lot of premium recommended cars, the fuel filler door might actually say premium fuel only. If you check the owner's manual, it'll tell you exactly what you're supposed to do, and what's in the owner's manual agrees with what's in the federal website. So the premium required versus the premium recommended are very different. If you put 87 in a premium required car, and this is an owner's manual for a car that is premium required, it tells you you're probably going to hear knock, and you're going to definitely have a big loss of performance.
Okay. Well, Brian, I want to thank you. And if you have a question or a comment, how about dropping me a line right here at MotorWeek?
There are always plenty of new rides heading our way, and here are a few of the latest.
Launching a new car is one thing, but how about a new car brand or even a new car company? That's not easy, but Hyundai is doing it, but just don't call it a Hyundai. The 2017 Genesis G90 is a car made by Genesis Motors, and our first impressions are extremely positive. In reality, a descendant of the Hyundai Equus, the Genesis G90 is a full-size luxury sedan about the size of a Mercedes-Benz S-Class. It also targets the LS from Lexus, a brand they hope to emulate, the BMW 7 Series, and Audi A8. The G90 sure looks like a luxury liner, mixing cues from German rivals outside and nearly matching the material quality inside. In and out, top to bottom, it's plush and smooth. Power comes from a 3.3-liter twin-turbo V6 with 365 horsepower, fed through a rear-drive 8-speed automatic. Its delivery is also smooth, never overbearing, but enough to keep up with the pack. A 420-horsepower V8 is available, as is all-wheel drive. So those are the facts, but just how does it drive, especially considering the steep competition?
That's not competition you take lightly, and the G90 certainly doesn't surpass them. It's not there yet, but it does a fairly solid job of keeping up with them. You would not be able to tell that this is a Hyundai product. The caliber is so much higher than anything they've ever done.
The G90 checks all the boxes for full-size luxury, premium audio, 22-way power driver's seat, real wood inlays, and yes, lots of soft-touch materials. Safety tech runs the gamut from auto emergency braking to smart adaptive cruise control and active lane keeping assist. On sale now, the 2017 Genesis G90 keeps it simple, with all features standard. The only choices are V6 or V8 and rear or all-wheel drive. Pricing begins right at $70,000. The first Honda Accord Hybrid didn't go over that well because it highlighted the performance aspect of the added electric motors rather than its fuel savings, a mistake the new Accord Hybrid does not make. Actually, after a quick spin in this 2017 Honda Accord Hybrid, we think Honda has hit upon the perfect formula with a class-leading 212 horsepower as well as a tops-in-class EPA rating of 49 city, 47 highway, and 48 combined. Both powerful and efficient, its new 2-liter i4-based 2-motor hybrid powertrain is also very compact. The downsized lithium-ion battery pack keeps trunk space at a reasonable 13.5 cubic feet, only about 2 less than the standard Accord. The Accord Hybrid adds a unique aluminum hood and bespoke 17-inch alloy wheels, colors, badging, as well as the expected blue tint to head and taillights. As for the driving experience...
So, driving the Accord Hybrid, you're going to get a few different things here and a lot of good driving characteristics. Mostly the switch between the driving modes, so from EV to hybrid to full-on engine power. All of it's very seamless and really rather quiet. Handles itself really well in a lot of different situations, like driving in the city, driving on the highway. It's all very quiet. The best thing about it is it drives pretty much like a standard Accord, but you're just getting the fuel economy that you want out of a hybrid.
Inside, there's an updated touchscreen, remote engine start, and available rear heated seats. Unchanged, the Accord's interior is as spacious and inviting as always. The 2017 Honda Accord Hybrid is available now, starting around $30,000. And stay tuned for more quick spins soon.
In creating the Armada for 2004, Nissan followed the usual path of the times, cobbling together an SUV body onto an existing truck frame to hurriedly satisfy a buying public hunger for full-size SUVs. Well, times have changed, and most large SUVs have moved on to more refined platforms. And now the Armada finally joins them, to a point. So let's see if the 2017 Armada can deliver that refinement as well as all of the goods.
The 2017 Nissan Armada rides high, wide, and handsome into a full-size SUV market that is primed for a bit of a renaissance due to low fuel prices, many recently updated rivals, and with that, the progressive refinement that has come to the segment. After soldiering on with the U.S.-made Titan pickup platform for 13 years, the Armada is now based on the Japan-sourced Nissan Patrol chassis, which Ken Infiniti QX80 started using for 2011. And you can easily see a Patrol and QX80 resemblance both in the rear three-quarter and D-pillar area and in overall stance. So there's not much outside to wow you. Some might even call it bland compared to GM's full-size team. But there's something to be said for blending in more than standing out. As for sitting down, there's plenty of comfort to be found in the front seats, and leather seating is surprisingly standard. As is seating for 8, though in platinum trim, the second row 3-place bench can give way to dual captain's chairs. With either, rear seat legroom is more than plentiful. It's when climbing up and back to the third row that you realize why crossovers are the more family-friendly choice. We were a little disappointed to see the same basic center stack control setup that Nissan and Infiniti have had for years. We do love the functionality of it, but the screen looks very low res compared to the competition, and they could have done a little more to dress it up considering its price tag. Cargo capacity is in line with the rest of the segment, though short of extended rigs like Suburban and Expedition EL. There's 16.5 cubic feet behind the third row, 49.9 behind the second, and 95.4 with all of them folded. Now, if you're familiar with the Patrol, you know that like the Toyota Land Cruiser, it has some legit off-road credentials. It is an automatic 4x4 system, but there is also a 2-speed transfer case and limited slip rear. While we sure appreciate it, we wonder how many Americans will ever experience the new Armada's potential, though surely it will be more than the QX buyers. The engine is still a 5.6-liter V8, but it is the latest Titan version with 390 horsepower and 394 pound-feet of torque. A 7-speed automatic transmission replaces the previous 5-speed. And just as in the QX, acceleration is plenty strong and normal operating procedure is library quiet. Towing capacity is 8,500 pounds. A Class 4 towing hitch is standard, as is a load-leveling rear coil spring suspension. Ride quality is not unlike the QX, stable and lighter on its feet than anticipated for a nearly 3-ton machine. Huge side mirrors add to what is already very good visibility all around. Nissan safety systems are still among the best, not being intrusive hardly at all, yet chiming in or helping out only when you absolutely need them. They were also an early pioneer in the around view monitor game, and it continues to get refined, now helping with tight off-road maneuvers as well. Sticker prices start at $45,395 for SV trim. Mid-level SL comes in at $50,145, while top drawer Platinum rings in at $58,085, placing it well below the Infiniti QX80, which starts at about $64,000. All-wheel drive will cost you another $2,900. The The days of big numbers for big rigs may be long gone, but there is certainly still a market for them. It's hard to see the 2017 Nissan Armada being a runaway hit, but it's a big, capable ute that should satisfy plenty of people's needs for a comfortable, capable, and yes, even a bit classy, full-size family SUV.
Well, that's our show. I hope you enjoyed it. Now, for more MotorWeek, why not check out our podcast as well as complete episodes at pbs.org/MotorWeek. And I hope you'll join us next time as we see the Fiat Web spread to a new 124 Spider. Then we'll keep it classy in an all-new Buick LaCrosse. Till next time, I'm John Davis. We'll see you right here on MotorWeek.
To learn more about MotorWeek, television's original automotive magazine, visit pbs.org/MotorWeek. To order a DVD of this program, call 1-800-873-6154. MotorWeek has been brought to you by...
It's got 430 foot units of beast.
Tire Rack wants you to be smart with your car. They can help you choose the right tires for your vehicle.
Oops.
TireRack.com. Find, deliver, install.
Rock Auto has auto parts from hundreds of manufacturers, offering a variety of brands, prices, and specifications. RockAuto.com. All the parts your car will ever need.
This program was produced by Maryland Public Television, which is solely responsible for its content.